In the last video, we talked about how to choose a strong name for your plumbing business so it shows up better in Google searches. In this video, we're going to turn that into your domain, which is essentially the home of your business and website on the internet. First, let's quickly talk about what a domain name actually is. Your domain name is simply the address people type into their browser to visit your website. For example, smithplumbing.co.uk, rapidflowplumbing.co.uk, leedsplumber.co.uk. So when someone searches for your plumbing business or hears about your company, the domain is how they actually find your website online. Ideally, your domain name should match your business name as closely as possible. Let's jump into some rules that you should follow when picking a domain name. The easiest and safest option when choosing a domain name is simply to match it to your business name. For example, if your company is called Rapid Flow Texas Plumbing, then your domain should be something like rapidflowtexasplumbing.com. This keeps everything consistent. Your business name, your website, and your Google business profile must all match. That makes it easier for customers to recognize your brand and also helps Google clearly understand your business. So whenever possible, try to secure a domain that matches your business name closely. The second rule is to keep your domain name simple and short. In general, shorter domains are easier to read, easier to type, and they look more professional. Some plumbers try to include lots of extra keywords in their domain name because they think it will help them rank on Google. For example, something like best emergency plumber London 247.co.uk. That might sound like a good idea, but in reality, it's messy, hard to type, and it doesn't look very professional. You also run the risk of coming across as spammy to Google, which can actually hurt your business rather than help it rank for those keywords. Now, Google, even to this day, still tends to favor domains massively that contain relevant keywords, but mostly when those keywords are part of your actual business name and brand, not just extra modifiers added at the end. So instead of trying to force a bunch of keywords into your domain, it's much better to choose a clean domain that matches your real business name. For example, if your business is called Rapid Flow Texas Plumbing, a good domain could be rapidflowtexasplumbing.com. This way, you still benefit from having relevant keywords in your name like your service and location, but you're avoiding the obvious attempt at keyword stuffing that can make it look like spam and manipulation to Google. So the key takeaway here is simple. Choose a clean domain that matches your real business name. The third rule is to avoid using hyphens in your domain name whenever possible. Hyphens can cause a lot of small problems. They're harder to remember, they're awkward to say out loud, and if someone ever types your domain email address manually, most people will instinctively type it without the hyphen, even if you told them yesterday that I had one. So in general, a clean domain like smithplumbing.co.uk is always better than something like smith-plumbing.co.uk. However, local businesses sometimes run into a situation where the exact domain matching their business name is already taken. And unless you're able to slightly change your business name, the next best option is often to just use a hyphen. That's because while hyphens do come with the disadvantages, your domain name isn't really there to solve things like email typing mistakes. The biggest benefits are from having relevant keywords in your business name and having the domain match it as closely as possible. And when it comes to local SEO, it's important that your business name, your domain, and your Google business profile all stay as accurate and consistent as possible and close to the one true name. So if the clean domain is taken, it's usually better to keep the correct business name and just add a hyphen. So the general rule is this. First, try to get a clean domain name matching your business name. If that's not available and it's possible that you can, slightly adjust the name and then run with that name. If you can't do that, using a hyphen is usually the next best option. And only as a last resort, should you start adding unrelated words and modifiers like LTD or services or best or 24/7 if 24/7 isn't actually in your name. The goal is always to keep the domain as close to your real business name as possible. And the goal of your name is to have as many advantages in it as possible through the keywords that you use in it. The next thing to think about is the domain extension, which is the part at the end of the domain. For example, smithplumbing.co.uk or smithplumbing.com. For plumbing businesses operating in the UK, the best option in most cases is .co.uk. Generally, for any country you operate in, you want to use that country's extension because it tends to feel more trustworthy with local customers. The main exception to this is the US, where businesses typically use .com instead. You'll also see .com used by companies that operate globally, but most local plumbing businesses usually stick with their country's extension. If you really want to lock things down, you can buy both extensions and own them for your business name. Following on from the last rule, another tip is to buy a domain name as soon as you can. Someone might already have a business with a similar name or in a different country, and you don't want to wait around for them to register it first. It might seem like low chances of it happening, but you'd be surprised, especially when domains are so cheap, usually only around £10 to £15 per year. So buying it early protects your business name so nobody else can register it in your place. It also allows you to set up a professional email address later on, like info or office@smithplumbing.co.uk, which we'll cover in another video. So once you've chosen your name and confirmed the domain is available, it's usually best to secure it straight away. So let's do a quick recap and test to see how much you learned. You want your plumbing business name to be close to your business name, which already contains relevant keywords, simple and easy to type, avoids unnecessary keywords and spam, avoids hyphens unless you really have to, and ideally uses the correct domain extension for your country. So in reality, about 90% of businesses watching this will be able to go ahead and secure the perfect domain for their business name without any problems by following these tips and also being able to avoid common mistakes. The rest of you might come across some pitfalls, but you also have the skills to overcome the most common ones. Now that you've chosen your business name and secured your domain, the next thing we're going to cover in this series is your plumbing business logo. In the next video, we'll go over where you can get a logo for your business and some best practices to follow so it looks professional and works well for your brand. Real quick before you go, if you're a plumber and you'd rather focus on running your business instead of figuring out all of this stuff yourself, this is exactly what we do. Over the past few years, we've helped businesses bring in thousands of leads and put systems in place that bring in new customers on autopilot. So if you want to save yourself the headache of trying to figure all of this stuff out on your own, we can handle the whole process for you. If that sounds like something your plumbing business would benefit from, you can book a free discovery call using the link in our description. On that call, we'll take a look at your business, your current marketing, and show you what opportunities you might be missing. And if we think we can help, we'll show you exactly how to move forward. Check the link down below to book your free discovery call.